right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, unlikely duo. A former judge and the man she locked up when he was just a teen. Their message to keep kids on the right track.
Some showers around tonight, the dry days return, and how long we'll have to wait for our next good chance for rain.
Our top story, a youth football coach sidelined by violence.
I just thank God. I'm so grateful.
Tonight, he relives the night he almost lost his life.
Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. Tonight, that coach is out of the hospital just 8 days after he was shot several times during practice. Just a few hours ago, he shared his amazing story of survival with our Robert Townsend. Robert?
Mike, Shaquille Lattimore says it's a miracle that he survived getting shot right in front of his team and dozens of other students and parents. Now tonight marks the coach's third night back home. Coach Shaquille Lattimore held his wife's hand, slowly walked across this South St. Louis park, and counted his blessings every step of the way.
For sure, a miracle. Now I beat the odds.
Just last Tuesday, the 30-year-old Lattimore was coaching his bad boys team during a practice at Sherman Park in North St. Louis when out of the blue,
He kept shooting me, man.
Lattimore told police Daryl Clemens pulled out a gun and shot him several times. The coach says Clemens was angry because his son was not a starting player on the youth football team. Clemens is in jail on assault and armed criminal action charges.
No remorse whatsoever. I really believe that it should be more charges.
It was real hard because I didn't want my kids to know what was happening at that time.
Paramedics rushed a wounded Coach Shaq to a hospital.
I got one under my underarm right here. I got one right here on my forearm. Now all of them were through and through. I was hit 4 times, grazed once. I feel it. You know, I still feel it. But by the grace of God, man, I'm blessed. I'm still here, man.
Still here with his wife, their 3 kids, his parents, and of course, his bad boys team.
I mean, it feels good to have him back.
10-year-old Antonio Gray is all smiles.
That's a hero. Like, I look up to Coach Shaq sometimes.
I love y'all boys. You know what I'm saying? Keep y'all head up. This is what a fighter look like.
Now, Lattimore tells me he's not happy with the city's Recreation Division's decision to suspend his team's participation in the City Rec Legends Football League. The Recreation Division says it did that after a series of incidents perpetuated by adults, which culminated in Tuesday's shooting. The Recreation Division says league rules are in place to ensure the protection of the youth, and it will uphold those rules to ensure a safe and successful football season.
Robert, thanks. Some light showers are making their way through the St. Louis region right now. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is in for Scott tonight, and he's tracking that rain in our Weather First forecast.
Yeah, you know, this front is moving through right now, Mike, and again, that line is pretty solid. It goes anywhere from Litchfield all the way through Edwardsville, down through St. Louis, and also Lambert into Cedar Hill and Jefferson County and down into Potosi. Let's zoom into the metro a little bit here from Lambert all the way through downtown St. Louis, Central West End, Cahokia Heights, and almost, already to Belleville. Some light showers, a little bit of yellow popping up on there. Those are just bigger raindrops, and they're louder when they hit the window there, but they've ended already in Jerseyville and Whitehall, but still around Litchfield and Staunton and a little further south, still seeing some around Festus and Potosi, but they've ended from Washington, Missouri, all the way through Gasconade County. So there's the front. It's going to move through here. Back behind it, there's a little bit of moisture for tomorrow. So we'll watch that rain that's moving through now. Then back behind the front, a little bit of rain. And of course, we'll watch for a beautiful weekend ahead. I'll have much more on those temperatures coming up in just a bit.
Developing tonight, St. Louis County Police investigating a suspicious death in Jennings. About 3 hours ago, officers found a man dead of an apparent gunshot wound in the 5700 block of Apricot Avenue. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 866-371-TIPS. Tonight, a South St. Louis man is behind bars on first-degree murder charges. Police say he flagged down officers to tell them he killed his 2 roommates. According to court documents, Edward LeBrier gave officers the address and keys to a house on Wyoming Street in the Benton Park West neighborhood. That's where officers found the bodies of two men ages 77 and 63. They had been shot on Monday. Labir told investigators he was hearing voices. Tonight, President Biden is on his way home after an historic whirlwind trip to the war zone in Israel. The president reaffirmed U.S. support for Israel's fight against Hamas after last week's brutal terror attack. His visit comes just 24 hours after a deadly hospital explosion that killed hundreds of civilians in Gaza, sparking protests worldwide. President Biden pointed to U.S. intelligence showing Israel was not responsible.
I was outraged and saddened by the enormous loss of life yesterday in the hospital in Gaza. Based on the information we've seen to date, it appears the result of an errant rocket fired by a terrorist group in Gaza.
After a request from President Biden, tonight Israel announced it would allow Egypt to deliver humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. The war between Israel and Hamas is affecting people here at home. Anti-Semitic material is spreading on social media and reaching high school students. Ladue School District leaders say hateful posts from a year ago have resurfaced. One said Israel are the new Nazis, another references the KKK and Hitler. A school spokesperson said they addressed the problem and have empowered teachers with material on how to approach these conversations with students. Our Verify team has been monitoring social media for claims about the Israel-Hamas war. One that caught our attention: Hamas has opened a training center in Mexico. Brandon Lewis reports from the U.S.-Mexico border.
A viral post with nearly 2 million views claims Hamas has training camps in Mexico, including one just across the border from Texas. But is there any evidence that these camps exist? Let's verify. Our sources are the U.S. Department of State, the National Counterterrorism Center, and Javed Ali, a counterterrorism associate professor at the University of Michigan. Hamas was created in 1987 with the goal of creating a Palestinian state in Israel's place. The National Counterterrorism Center, which tracks Hamas, says the militant group primarily operates in Gaza and has a presence in the West Bank, refugee camps in Lebanon, and key regional capitals in the Middle East, not Mexico. Ali tells Verify in 35 years, Hamas has never conducted an attack outside of Israel, and there's no reason to think it's expanded beyond the Middle East. In 2021, the State Department compiled a report on terrorism in Mexico, which concluded there was no credible evidence indicating international terrorist groups established bases in Mexico. So, no, there is no evidence of Hamas training camps in Mexico. With your Verify along the U.S.-Mexico border in San Diego, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What would you like us to verify? Just send an email to verify@ksdk.com. Some justice tonight for the family of a man who they say was killed by a flying lawn chair at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. The family of Jason Smith has reached a settlement with Live Nation, which operates the concert venue. Their lawsuit claims Smith forgot something, ran back inside after a Dave Matthews Band concert in 2019. That's when he was hit in the head as employees cleared away lawn chairs. The amount and terms of the settlement are confidential. The city of St. Anne will have to cough up $3.1 million as part of a class action settlement. Arch City defenders filed the federal lawsuit claiming people were illegally fined and jailed. More than 35,000 people who were jailed between August 9, 2011 and November 14, 2022 are eligible. St. Anne must also forgive all fines, fees, costs, and surcharges people racked up between August 1, 2011 and December 31, 2014. Well, tonight, a retired St. Louis judge is back in the spotlight, focused on steering youth away from crime. Today, she partnered with an ex-convict who she sent to prison decades ago. As Brent Solomon explains, they're working to help young offenders realize there's still time to turn their lives around.
It's a moment they never expected would happen. Nearly 3 decades ago, former St. Louis Circuit Judge Evelyn Baker sentenced Bobby Bostic to 241 years in prison. It was for robbery. We told you he was released last year after serving 27 years.
I never expected Bobby to, live. I thought he was just so out of control that he was going to die behind the walls, but Bobby grew up.
Here he is today, watching the undefeated Cardinal Ritter football team practice. This teenager tells me it helps keep him out of trouble.
If I'm not doing this, I'm in a house, so this is really my safe space. This is a safe space.
Directly across from where his team practices, Other young people are behind bars for committing crime. Bostic comes here every week, teaching young people what they need to become better adults.
If somebody would have talked to me at 16, maybe I wouldn't have went to prison.
Wednesday, Judge Baker joined his effort.
I'm trying to explain to them, okay, you're juveniles. Your records are going to be sealed. There's no limitation on what it is that you can or cannot do with your lives. You can be whatever it is you want to be.
Now 15 years into retirement, she doesn't like what she sees when it comes to young people and crime. She's calling on leaders to take action.
We've got a lot of traumatized kids who receive no therapy. I mean, we're dealing with kids who have seen people they know or people they're related to who are being killed. We need more child care. And child care shouldn't end when the kid is 12 or 13 or 14 years old. We need places for these older youngsters to go.
To keep them out of the legal system, these two are all too familiar with. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, some St. Louis neighborhoods are shining a little brighter with the help of our Major League Soccer club. For every goal St. Louis City SC scored during the regular season, Ameren, Missouri donated 100 energy-efficient LED light bulbs. Today, players and community leaders distributed 500 bulbs in the Hyde Park and College Hill neighborhoods in North City in homes to make the streets there safer. Tonight, the wheel at Union Station is shining purple to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Just a few hours ago, law enforcement and YWCA staff met to address how to work together to support survivors as advocates and allies. Tomorrow, some other landmarks may catch your eye. City Park, Enterprise Center, Stiefel Theater, and Ballpark Village are just a handful of the many buildings that will be lit up in purple.
An international scheme uncovered here in St. Louis. How local companies unwittingly funded weapons of mass destruction in North Korea. Scammers getting smarter through your smart TV.
Essentially, it's a new twist on a tech scam.
The warning tonight on how you can be swindled while watching your favorite program.
You'll like our weekend forecast. Cool starts, warm afternoons. Then I'll time out our next chances for some shower activity.
An update tonight on possible cases of illegal grave digging in Berkeley. The St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office now tells 5 on your side they've reviewed the case and are taking it under advisement. Back in August, we first showed you this cell phone video showing 2 men digging up a grave at Washington Park Cemetery. Investigators say the men, both in their 70s, told them they wanted to move the body to another cemetery. They were arrested for illegally exhuming a body. The estimated cost to clean up radioactive waste from Coldwater Creek in North St. Louis County has more than doubled. A new report from the Government Accountability Office says it'll cost more than $400 million. The report also says cleanup will take another 15 years to complete. Community advocates will discuss the findings at a town hall meeting tomorrow night from 6 until 8 at Trinity Church in Florissant. Tonight, the FBI in St. Louis says local companies have unknowingly been paying for weapons of mass destruction in North Korea. Agents discovered people posing as IT workers were funneling their wages to North Korea. They were able to work remotely from China and Russia by paying Americans to set up the company's hardware in their homes. Court documents show a homeowner in St. Louis grew suspicious and tipped off the feds.
If you are hiring IT workers either for mobile application development or specific software development at point of need, and you do not have a robust background process to ensure who they are, more likely than not, you have some of these North Korean IT workers on your contractor payroll.
The FBI has already seized more than $1.5 million in the scheme. Well, we want you to hang on to your money, especially as we inch closer to the holidays. And tonight, the Better Business Bureau is warning of a scam that could be targeting your smart TV. Michelle Lee shares tips to avoid being duped on your device in tonight's Making Ends Meet report.
We got a call from a concerned viewer named Michael, and he said he received a phone call about renewing his subscription to Roku. And he says his friend actually got the same call about the very same thing. So Michael said, hey, I believe this is a scam, so you might want to put it on your news to inform the public. Thank you, Michael. Turns out this scam is rampant enough to have both Roku and the Better Business Bureau responding.
Essentially, it's a new twist on a tech scam.
We're used to seeing pop-ups on our computers, but now scams are coming in through our televisions, which can be confusing and convincing.
You get a pop-up on your TV that says there's a discrepancy, you need to call this number or click this link, and then whenever you call the number, you get to a customer service agent and they say, oh, there's an activation or a registration fee that you have to pay. Once again, sounding very convincing, and so you just go along with it, but you're ending up giving your information to a scammer, and so now your credit card number, your debit card number.
The BBB has some tips on how to avoid any smart TV scams, including double-checking any fees you have to pay. A quick online search will tell you Roku never charges an activation fee. Don't fall for fake websites. Scammers love making imitation websites that are just 1 or 2 letters off from the real thing. And here's an easy tip.
If you are on Roku or Netflix or whatever it may be, go and type in the URL yourself. Do not click on that link.
And never let anyone control your device remotely. Scammers often do this with computers, but your smart TV is just as vulnerable.
Why is it important to remind people about scams like this, especially those people who are really trying to make ends meet?
Well, the biggest thing we have to remember is any device that's connected to the internet, it opens the door for scammers to be able to get to us.
Our viewer Michael was on the money, and now he's helping keep your hard-earned cash right where it belongs. For Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee, 5 on your side.
A reunion 70 years in the making for a Korean War veteran from St. Louis. Harry Hope flew to South Carolina this week to reunite with Lee Brulette. They fought together in the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, a 14-day event that claimed the lives of thousands. They are 2 of only 3 members left from their platoon. After the war, Hope served as a firefighter in East St. Louis and worked for the Webster Grove School District. He's also the original organizer of the Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Former Cardinals ace Adam Wainwright is coming back to St. Louis next month. He will be honored at this year's Musial Awards. Adam is receiving the Extraordinary Character Award for his work on and off the field. The nationally televised Musial Awards celebrate the year's greatest moments of sportsmanship, and they're set for Saturday, November 18th at Stiefel Theater. I hope you can join us. We posted a link for ticket information in the As Seen on TV section at KSDK.com. Scott is off tonight. Meteorologist Jim Castillo joins us once again, this time with our Weather First forecast, and we're talking quick-hitting rain.
Yeah, it's already gone out of, the St. Louis City SC Stadium here, but looking down Market Street, about an hour ago, there was a little bit of this haze in the sky, and that was the light rain. So a trace at Lambert, maybe 1/100th. Probably measurable, but not a lot, just like we were thinking. 76, though, today for that high. The average high is 68, and 48 the low this morning. 48 is the average. So out ahead of this front, it's a weak front. Even tomorrow's highs will be cooler, but about 67. So there's a little bit of moisture out ahead of it, a little bit of moisture back behind it. So we'll watch for a spot shower tomorrow afternoon. But that Doppler weather radar showing a nice solid line, a little bit of yellow too. No thunder, no lightning, but maybe some bigger raindrops all the way from Belleville to Troy at the moment, and right along Interstate 64 in LA, and also right along Interstate 70 all the way to Greenville, or almost to Greenville, Illinois. Richwoods, it's already ended there. Sullivan, it's ended. You had a little bit there. Potosi, still a little bit of shower activity all the way down into Ironton and into Reynolds County. So that future cache, you can see that rain pushing into Nashville, Salem, Vandalia, and also Flora as we get into about 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's light, it's quick, and probably less than 1/10 of an inch of rain for most areas. Then tomorrow, clouds fill back in, 67 for that high, and a spot shower really can't be ruled out. But once we get to Friday, we're all sunshine, and Friday's high temperatures will be about 70 and even warmer than that on Saturday. So a beautiful weekend is on the way. Less than 1/10 of an inch of rain, most models are indicating, and it's already pushing through St. Louis. It's 66 degrees right now at Lambert, and that humidity at 56%. Dew point finally jumped up to about 50, but it was really low throughout the day. And look at this, the warmest overnight lows that we have all week. We're in the 50s tonight, and then tomorrow's high temperatures, well, again, that spot shower possible and clouds, but by Friday it's sunny, it's 70. As we get into Saturday, about 72 with all that sunshine. 10-day forecast looks like this. As we get to this beautiful weekend, then Monday a warm front comes in. Chance of a shower early on Monday, 66. Then we pop to 76, Mike, on Tuesday, breezy. Rain later Wednesday, and boy, as we go into the following weekend, you see that 53 on Saturday.
Temperatures going down. All right. Jim, thanks. Frank is off tonight. Holden is here with sports.
Well, the 2023 baseball season isn't even over yet, and Cardinals fans already have their eyes on 2024. But could it include a return of the Oddfather? That's a question I asked Katie Wu earlier today, and you're going to want to stick around to hear her answer after the break.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
After 18 years, the sun is set on Adam Wainwright's pitching career. However, his longtime battery mate could be returning to the Cardinals dugout. According to the Athletics' Katie Wu, Yadier Molina is in talks to return to St. Louis as part of Ali Marmol's coaching staff. The idea really got traction when Yadi returned to Busch Stadium for Waino's retirement celebration. With Dusty Blake and Turner Ward both set to return to the team, it's still unclear exactly what Yadi's role with the team might look like. But Wu says early indications are that if a deal gets done, it would be an everyday role with the club.
There's an added benefit besides the obvious in bringing Yadi to this coaching staff. Helping Wilson Contreras defensively is huge there. I'm sure that's something that Wilson would entirely be on board for and whatnot. The Cardinals, or why not? The Cardinals do not have a catching coordinator. Certainly Yadier Molina could fit some of that role. There is also the possibility of using Yadi to entice free agent starting pitchers to come to St. Louis. We know about the Cardinals' dire need for pitching next year. And free agency is, money is only just one part of that.
The return of Yadi could help the Cardinals coaching staff clean up some of the defensive miscues in the field. Just 2 years after fielding a record 5 players that won a Gold Glove, only one Cardinal was nominated this year, utility man Tommy Edman. Well, Edman's nomination was certainly deserving after playing short, second, and multiple outfield positions. The biggest shock of the day may have been that Nolan Arenado was left off the ballot, breaking his streak of 10 straight Gold Gloves. Speaking of defense, the Blues' revamped defensive system has netted them 3 points in their first 2 games, but the offense has been a bit of a different story. With Pavel Buchnevich out for a couple of weeks with an upper body injury, head coach Craig Berube is elevating Alexei Toropchenko to the top line. Despite his limited track record, Berube believes Toropchenko's toughness could pay dividends for a team that is yet to hold a lead this season.
I think there's more finish around the net, People have the ability to make plays. They see the ice that way. There's a lot of players that really don't have that ability. It's too early to tell, to be honest with you. But I know that him being around the net and his big body and stuff like that, so he's going to get some good cracks.
The Missouri Tigers football team may be the biggest surprise in the SEC this season. The 20th ranked Tigers are 6-1 heading into their homecoming matchup with.
I really challenge our guys to refrain from searching out the praise on social media and becoming numb to improvement. We really have to improve. And I think what happens is, you go looking for pats on the back instead of being critical or hard on yourself and saying, I need to be uncomfortable to continue to grow, and that's really what our team needs to do.
Meanwhile, in Champaign, all eyes will be on Illinois head coach Brett Bielema as the Illini welcome in his former squad from Wisconsin. However, the real storyline to watch is whether or not former Belleville West standout Keith Randolph can return to the field. Randolph still hasn't been medically cleared, but Bielema says the fifth-year senior has been key to getting the underclassmen up to speed.
So there's so many tangible, fundamental things that our young players are doing well. Sometimes you got to live through some things that you're going through it, but I'm also excited. Johnny and Keith, obviously Keith missed last week, but those two guys are probably playing as good a football as I've seen them play.
And it was a big deal for Illinois to get Randolph back, to return this season from the NFL draft. I want to see him back on the field. You always want to see those local kids stand out.
All right, Holden, thanks. Finding friends for Friendsgiving, the new partnership working to make sure you're not celebrating the holidays alone.
New Max Cushioning Hands-Free Skechers Slip-ins.
United Airlines is changing the way economy class passengers board planes. Starting next week, people who have selected a window seat will board first, followed by middle seat ticket holders, then aisle seats. The airline says the change shaves off 2 minutes from the boarding process. Families, though, will still be able to board together. The social media app Bumble for Friends is teaming up with Butterball to encourage people to make new connections for the holidays. The turkey brand found 20% of people surveyed will not celebrate Thanksgiving this year or will celebrate alone. 22% said family and friends are just too far away, and 13% cited the cost of travel. It'll nice to be able to be with friends on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.